Welcome to another daily cinephile vlog, and we are currently going south on I-35 in the great state of Minnesota from Duluth on my way to the Twin Cities. I would say I probably do this drive 12 times a year, once every month at least. There's always concerts going on down in the cities or other events, things that I want to see. There's a state fair, there's games, like football games or basketball games, and there's also weddings to film, which is why I'm looking so sharp today. I actually don't think I'll be able to make it to a football game this year, which is pretty unfortunate. I did get to go to a preseason game, the 3 preseason games that the Vikings lost before this incredible season. So at least, I did get to see a little bit of the Vikings this year. I've been going to a Vikings game at least once a year now, going a few years back. Football games were never really anything that my family did, because it's a pricey venture. It's the most expensive type of game. It doesn't help that when we were younger, we were not really a football family. And, we went to basketball games. The Timberwolves games especially are very affordable, especially if you're in the upper section. And I actually remember one of the coolest things I ever saw was an upper section game when I was a student at the main University of Minnesota. They used to have a student deal for Timberwolves tickets on, I believe it was Wednesdays. I think it was a Wednesday game because it was actually the game that Kevin Garnett returned to the Timberwolves, which was a very awesome game. It was packed, and they still had the student discount. So me, cousin of mine, we made it into that game, and it's one of the coolest experiences of my life. But football was never anything that was part of our family. It's only been in recent years that, now that they have the new stadium, I've wanted to go and see the Vikings play. And this season especially, they have been a lot of fun. A lot of, if you've heard the jokes, they've been winning the games pretty much at the last minute, going into overtime, being saved by the double doink that the Saints caused earlier in the season. The biggest comeback in history against the Colts. It's been nuts. And now we're actually in the playoffs. How do I feel about our playoffs possibilities? I don't really know, because with this team, you just never know. They either like to win by razor-thin margins, or they like to lose by the biggest margin possible. They had a horrible game against the Packers. They lost to the 49ers. They lost to the Cowboys. Do I think they can beat the Giants? Yes. They beat the Giants already, so yes, they can beat the Giants. Do I think they will beat the Giants? I don't know. I mean, it's a playoff game tomorrow that I'm not looking forward to. I'm very excited for the team. I think they can win. I've heard the arguments of, these Vikings, they're not that great because they're barely winning. And as people say that, I'm like, barely winning is still a win. You can barely win the Super Bowl, and, you win the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if you barely win it. What matters is, did you win it? So, I think this team, I have a lot of hope for this team. But, at the same time, given the way that they've played, there's definitely, even in the games they've won, there's a lot of improvement that's needed, I think, especially on defense. So, that's something to look forward to for next season, maybe to see some improvement there. But as of right now, with the playoffs, I think the Giants game, we can win. But we got some other problems up ahead. We still have to beat Philly. There's some other teams that are currently in our bracket that we haven't even played. I don't know who we play after this game. But if it is Philly, it's like, look, we lost to Philly, and they're going to be a tough team. They just got that kind of, that fan base, you know? They have that energy around them. They have that culture around them where they really have been fighting through this season, and regardless of what you have to say about them, they are a Super Bowl caliber team. And it's a team that I've been worried about all season. I'm like, no matter how bad we want to make it to the Super Bowl, we still got to beat Philly, and we didn't beat Philly. So that's step one. And then, I guess, but really what the real step one is tomorrow, beating the Giants. So overall, I think we can do it. But as any Minnesotan would tell you, who's a fan of the Vikings, always prepare for heartbreak. Always prepare for heartbreak. I wish I could just be looking forward to playoffs, but you have to be cautiously optimistic and be prepared for the worst. I wasn't alive, I was alive, but I don't remember it, during the 98 season. I believe we had a 15-1 record, and we lost the first playoff game, and you still hear about that game from some of the old timers. So people know what it's like. Anyway, this was just some car ramblings. I'm gonna film a wedding, enjoy the rest of my Saturday night afterwards, and we'll see you next time.